Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are focusing on flexibility, spending our time low to the mat, on the back and in a seated frame, and we're going to be focusing on bending, stretching, twisting, flexing and releasing movements. Great class if you're feeling particularly tense. You may need a block or a strap or both to modify some of the movements, so make sure you have those at hand. And as always, I would like you to open up the body progressively, play where you're comfortable, modifying your movements where you need to, and feeling comfortable to take a time out as and when you need to. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to find our way down onto the back. So ease your way to the mat, lying down comfortably on your back, more or less in the middle of the mat. And you're going to start with your knees bent and the soles of the feet connected to the mat. Try to lengthen through the spine. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, hug your knees in towards the chest. As you inhale, allow the knees to draw away. Exhale to hug back in. You're going to rinse and repeat, starting to relax and release through the lower back and the spine as you hug the knees in towards the chest, and then bringing it back to your neutral spine position. Giving me a nice exhale as you hug the knees in towards the chest, and then inhaling softly as you allow the knees to draw away. Come to stillness in a soft tabletop line and just release softly through the ankles, tracing roughly 10 circular patterns in one direction, and then changing and moving in the opposite direction. Then still the ankles and draw 2 big circular patterns with the knees away from each other, starting to open and soften through the hips. Keep your belly button nice and heavy to the mat, and then change halfway through and begin tracing in the opposite direction. From here, we're going to bring it into a soft little cradle rock position. Bracing softly against your shins and starting to gently rock the body side to side, maybe just holding onto the knees if coming into a full brace is not for you. And then either staying here, just gently rocking side to side, or tucking the hands behind your head in a surrender-like fashion, and then rocking all the way over into a fetal position, tapping the 2 elbows together, and then rocking all the way over to the other side. You're going to rinse and repeat, gently rocking side to side, keeping those hands tucked behind the head. And then from here, we're going to start moving into a soft twisting motion. The next time you roll onto your side in your fetal position with the elbows together, keep the bottom elbow on the floor and open up the top elbow, tracking the movement of the elbow with your eyes so that you bring the head and the neck along. Drawing back as far as you can to the floor, then peel back to your start position, roll all the way over onto the other side. Once you're in your fetal position, take a big breath in, open up the top elbow, tracking the movement with your eyes, drop the elbow as far as you can to the floor behind you. And then exhale to draw back to your start position. Once you've tapped the 2 elbows together, rock all the way over to the other side. Big breath in as you open up the top elbow. Bring your head and your neck with you as you move into the twist. Exhale to close the elbows along the midline of the body, and then rock all the way over to the other side to rinse and repeat. Big breath in as you open up. Exhale as you bring the 2 elbows together. Let's do one more to each side. Big breath in as you open up. Make sure that you're tracking that arm. Exhale as you come back to your start position. Last one. Trying to soften and relax through the body as you begin moving and twisting. Come back towards the center line and morph into a little happy baby by bending the knees, pointing the soles of the feet up to the ceiling, reaching around and trying to grab for the undercarriage of your foot. If your back is still too tense and you're still too tight, maybe just hold on to the back of your legs and hug the tops of your thighs as close to your chest as you can. Try to soften the knees, so think of bringing them down towards your chest and then allowing them to splay around your chest as if they were gravitating towards your armpit. Then relax and release your lower back into the mat. Keep tugging down actively on the feet and maybe gently rock side to side. Then slide your hands gently onto the shins and rock up into a seated frame, placing the soles of your feet softly on the mat. Think of lengthening through the spine. Chin is parallel to the floor, and then on an exhale, nod your chin to your chest. Start slowly rounding out through the spine. As the weight comes off your tailbone, allow the feet to come up off the mat. Rock back as far as your shoulder blades and then back to your start position. Pushing softly through the feet, lengthening through the spine as you think of hugging the shins in towards the chest. On an exhale, round out. Allow momentum to drag you back, rocking back only as far as your shoulder blades, not onto the neck, as you find a steady rhythm of your own. Play with the spine, sitting up nice and tall, lengthening the crown up towards the ceiling, then softly rounding out in a C-like frame and rocking back. Make sure that you're giving a nice C frame so that you're not jarring the nodules of the spine as you gently rock back. So you want a nice, soft, rounded, ball-like frame as you rock back. Let's do one more. Then we'll gently end on the back and we'll take it back into happy baby. You can give me an inside grip this time, reaching from the arch of your foot and just gently tug down. If your lower back is peeled up off the mat, mindfully push the weight back into your tailbone. Find a release through the sacrum. Maybe gently sway it side to side. And you can make that movement quite big, almost tapping your bottom foot to the mat if you like. Just play where you're comfortable. You're going to come back towards the center line. You're going to drop the sole of the left foot to the floor. Try and keep your inside grip and then cross the left hand over the right, so you've got opposite hand on each side of the foot as you gently tug the knee down towards the chest. Then gently think of sliding the hands down, reaching maybe for the calf, still keeping your overhand grip, reaching for the back side of the calf and tugging the thigh towards your chest as you gently scoop to imprint the lower back into the mat, weight just off the shoulders, about 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest, and you're softly pushing through the base of the supportive foot. Keep your belly button heavy to the mat, and then we'll bring it into a little eagle bind from here. Softly peel back down to the mat. Give me a goalpost frame through the arms, so your arms look like a little cactus. Then cross the right leg over the left as if you were sitting on the couch, either keeping the feet loose or tucking the right foot behind the calf of the left leg. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, float both knees all the way over as far as you can to the left as you float your head in the opposite direction, trying to keep your right shoulder as connected to the mat as you can. Don't force the stretch. Be really gentle. Move mindfully, coming back to the center line if you need to at any time. Inhale, float gently back towards the center line. Uncouple your legs. Place your hands palms down on the knees and trace those 2 big circles with the knees away from each other, keeping your belly button nice and heavy to the mat and relax that lower back. Then change up and trace in the opposite direction. Ease your way from here back into happy baby. Remember to grab from the inside this time. So from the arch of your foot, gently tug down. Really try to relax those knees into the armpits and then release. Roll your tailbone back into the mat. Maybe gently rocking side to side, either keeping it small or giving me a large rock and almost coming all the way over to tap your bottom foot to the mat before you peel back up. Just keep your movement soft and relaxed. Try not to tense through the body. We're looking at releasing tension, not creating more. Come back towards the center line. Keep your grasp on the left foot and just drop the right foot to the mat. Then cross the right arm over the left, reaching for the undercarriage of the foot, and tug down actively with both hands, trying to get that knee to release a little bit closer towards your armpit or your chest line. Then think of taking a big breath in, scooping to peel up, sliding your hands down to maybe reach for the back of your calf as you keep a soft scooped position on the mat with your lower back imprinted, weight just off the shoulders, about 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest as you gently hug that thigh in towards your body line. We're going to bring it into a little Garudasana eagle bind from here. Softly reconnect to the mat and give me a goalpost frame through your arms. Arms are at 90 like a little cactus, palms looking up to the ceiling. Cross the left leg over the right as if you were sitting on the couch. Keep your feet loose or tuck the left foot behind the calf of the right leg. Find a comfortable neutral spine position. Take a big breath in to prepare. And on the exhale, float both knees as far as you can to the right as you float your head to the left. Try to keep your left shoulder blade softly connected to the mat and remember to float your head in the opposite direction to your legs. Don't force the stretch. We're warming up gently, so just play where you're comfortable. Peel your way softly back towards the midline and come back to an open knee position, placing your hands palms down and the knees. Trace those 2 big circular patterns with the knees away from each other, relaxing and releasing into the groin, the inner thighs and the lower back, and then change and trace in the opposite direction. We're going to come back into that rocking-like motion, but we're going to change it up slightly. Cross the legs one in front of the other as if you were coming into easy sit. Reach with your fingertips for the tops of your toes and think of hugging the toes in towards your body line. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, nod your chin to your chest and rock up into a seated frame, almost tapping your head to the floor, so to speak, and then rocking back to your start position. Play with the movement, hugging the feet in towards the body line and making sure that you're giving me a nice rounded shape, both as you fold forward and more importantly, as you roll back. You don't want a straight back as you roll back. You want to round out almost in a cat-like frame so that you've got a nice rounded curve to be able to roll on. Keep your belly button softly pulled in to center as you play. Give me about 2 more rocks. And then you're going to end for me in a seated frame on the mat. You're going to uncouple your legs and place the soles of your feet on the mat. You're going to brace your hands against the shins and lengthen through your spine. So give me a nice long line with your shoulders stacked over your hips. And then on an exhale, round out your spine softly, easing up the tension on your shins. And give me a nice C-curve frame on the spine. Inhale to lengthen up, restacking your shoulders over your hips, giving me a long line, tailbone to crown. Exhale to round up, nodding your chin softly towards your chest and feeling a nice little contraction through the core. Rinse and repeat, playing between the 2 positions and find a steady rhythm of your own. Feel that stretching that's happening through the spine, the beautiful lengthening and stretching that's happening. Let's do one more flow. And then we'll end up nice and high with your shoulders stacked over your knees. Your feet are either softly clipped together or comfortably about hip width distance apart on the mat in front of you. Take a big breath in and on an exhale, just float the left palm softly to the mat. Soften through the elbow and take a gentle overhead stretch on the right. Don't force that left arm to the floor. Just keep a soft connection through your palm and make the shoulder and the elbow heavy to the floor. Inhale, come back towards the center line, lengthening through the spine. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, float the right palm to the mat alongside you and give me a beautiful overhead arc on the left, making the right shoulder and elbow as heavy as you can to the floor. Inhale, come back to the center line. Let's do one more to each side. On an exhale, drop the left palm and make that elbow heavy to the floor as you take a gentle overhead arc. Inhale, come back towards the center line, lengthening through the spine as you stack your shoulders over your hips. On an exhale, take the stretch to the right, making your palm, your elbow, and your shoulder on the right nice and heavy to the floor. Come back towards the center line, and as you come back towards the center, place the hands gently on the mat behind you and float the soles of your feet into a butterfly line. Soles of the feet together, knees softly open. Maybe gently rock your body weight side to side, bum cheek to bum cheek, and start incrementally creeping your bum closer towards the heels and begin gently opening up through the groin. Come to stillness along the midline of the body with the knees equally weighted on both sides, and place the right hand on the inside of the right knee, almost softly twisting to look over the left shoulder as you allow the right knee to be pushed away from the center line. Inhale and come back to center to change to the other side, pushing the left knee away and twisting slightly to the right as you open up through the groin. Come back towards the center line, placing both hands on the mat behind you, and softly flutter the knees up and down like the little wings of a butterfly. Then open up the knees, drop the feet to the mat quite wide. I'd say about mat width distance apart on both sides. Take a big breath in and drop both knees to the left as you look to the right. Inhale, come back towards the center line, drop both knees to the right as you look over the left shoulder. Do that one more time and we'll add a little lock. As you drop both knees to the left, try to take the left foot and place the heel of the left foot on the knee of the right leg and try and open up a little bit more, dropping both knees heavily to the floor. Inhale and come back towards the center line, drop both knees to the right. Take the right heel, tuck it over the left knee, and actively drop both knees down towards the floor. As you peel your way back to the center line, find your way into easy sit. Tuck the left heel in as close to the perineum as you can and stack the right leg in front. Take a big breath in and gently fold forward, trying to connect your fingertips or your palms and your elbows to the floor as you fold forward. If you find this particularly comfortable, maybe reach for a block. Play with the dimensions of the block on the mat in front of you and find a lean-in position that's going to work for you. Keep working that stretch gently. Don't fight it. Try to hinge forward from the hip bones and just relax into the mat. Don't tense your back. Then from this position, creep your hands or your forearms, depending on where you are, off center and try to frame your left knee on both sides, either forearms on the mat or maybe fingertips connected to the mat, or maybe playing with that block and just finding a lean-in position, slightly off center so that you can feel a nice pull through the obliques and through the lower back. Creep your way back towards the center line and then take your stretch slightly off center to the right. Thinking of gently framing the right knee on either side. Try to relax your top portion of your body and just release it into the mat. Gently peel your way back towards the center line. Peel up, take a big breath in, and on an exhale, twist softly to the left. Opposite hand to knee, grabbing with your palm and resisting with the knee as you float the left fingertips to the floor behind you. Give me a nice high seat and try to keep your shoulders softly stacked over your hips with both bum bones equally weighted into the mat and the belly button firmly pulled in. Inhale and come back towards the center line and exhale to take your twist in the opposite direction. Opposite hand to knee, with your palm, pull the knee and resist with the knee so that you're feeling that opposition in the stretch. Inhale and come back towards the center line and gently change the cross of your legs, leading with the left leg in front. Using your block, if you need it, take a big breath in and on the exhale, fold forward to connect your fingertips, your palms, or your forearms to the mat. Think of hinging forward from the hips and try to relax your head. Pretend that there's a little magnet that's gently tugging on the crown of your head. So feel that little release at the nape of your neck as you make that crown as heavy to the mat as you can. Then gently walk your hands slightly off center to one side, framing the knee on either side with either your hands, your palms, or the forearms, using a block if you need to, and take a slightly off center stretch to one side, keeping your belly button firmly pulled in towards the center line. Creep back to your midway point and then ease or walk your way over to the other side, finding your forward fold and thinking of gently framing the knee on either side. Ease your way back to the center line and then peel up. Take a big breath in and on an exhale, twist softly to the right. Opposite hand to knee, right fingertips softly braced on the mat behind you. Don't lean into the backhand. Give me a long line, maybe just the fingertips connected to the mat, and make sure that you've got a soft elbow and a soft shoulder on the back arm. Inhale and come back towards the center line, and on an exhale, take the twist softly into the opposite direction, keeping that stack of your shoulders over your hips, belly button firmly pulled in, and both bum bones beautifully grounded into the mat with a weight placement equal on both sides. Come back towards the center line and find your way back into that soft butterfly line. Gently rock your body weight side to side, creeping your bum incrementally closer to your foot line. Keep your belly button softly pulled in. Then take a big breath in and place your right hand on the inside of the right knee, pushing down on the right knee and almost softly rotating through the shoulders to peek over that left shoulder to the floor behind you. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in towards the center line. Big inhale as you come back to rinse and repeat on the other side, pushing down softly on the inside of the left knee, opening up beautifully through the groin. Ease your way back to your midway point with the hands on the floor behind you and flutter the knees up and down, relaxing and releasing through the groin. Then open up the legs, feet about mat width distance apart. Take a big breath in, drop both knees to the left as you look to the right. Inhale, come back towards the center line and drop both knees to the right as you look to the left. One more to each side. Big breath in, come back. As you find your drop, hook the left heel over the right knee and try to make both knees as heavy to the mat as you can manage. Inhale, bring it back. Drop both knees to the right as you look to the left. Find that hook. Drop both knees down to the mat as heavy as you can. Come back towards the center line and repeat on the first side. From that hooked position, we're going to bring it into a seated figure four. So you're going to try and reach for the left foot as you extend the right leg along the mat and almost think of tucking that leg into the half lotus line, bringing the left heel in as close towards the inside of your right hip socket as you can, either staying here really gently or pushing down gently on the left knee with your left hand as you hold softly onto the toes of the right foot. So just open it up really gently. If you have the range of motion, you could even gently lean forward and try to bind to that foot. If you can't bind to the foot, you could maybe take a strap or a hand towel, loop it around the foot, holding equally on both sides as you gently fold forward. So just play where you're comfortable. Find what works for you. Peel back up along the center line, uncouple. Bring the soles of both feet to the mat. Gently drop both knees to the right as you look to the left, finding that hook. And then from your hook position, think of hugging the right foot in towards your body line as you extend the left leg, coming into an almost half lotus seat. Take that right heel and bring it in as close to the inside of your left hip bone as you can. Sitting up nice and tall, maybe just holding it here or taking your right hand, pushing the right knee away. Either bracing your hand on the floor behind you or reaching for the toes and almost hugging the toes in towards your body. If this feels good, maybe gently folding forward. So either just place your fingertips on the floor or maybe use your belt or your strap or your hand towel or find a soft bind around the feet. Keep your belly button firmly pulled in towards the center line and don't force the stretch. Just gently fold forward. Peel back up along the center line and tuck into the half lotus line on the right. So think of coming back into easy sit. Bend the left leg, tuck the heel in as close to the perineum as you can, either finding the same stack that you played with on side one, or reaching for the foot and trying to tuck the heel of the right foot as close to the inside of the left hip bone as is comfortable for you, coming into a comfortable half lotus line. Take a big breath in, maybe floating your hands overhead, and on the exhale, fold forward using a block if you need to connect your fingertips, your palms, or your forearms to the mat. And gently just chill here for a couple of breaths, keeping the belly button softly pulled into center. Make the crown nice and heavy as if there was a magnet gently pulling you down towards the floor. And just try to relax your body and soften on the exhale. Then gently creep both hands off center to one side, thinking of framing the knee on either side, either with your hands or your palms or your forearms, or using the block and bringing it along with you as you take a slightly off-center stretch. Inhale, creep back towards the midline, and then take your off-center stretch to the other side, thinking of framing the knee gently on that side, keeping belly button to spine and just trying to make your whole trunk heavy to the mat. Try not to tense up through the lower back. Inhale and come back towards the center line. Peel up, take a big breath in, and exhale to twist softly in one direction, off center, thinking opposite hand to knee, and bracing the other hand on the mat behind you. Inhale to come back towards the center line, and exhale to take the twist softly in the opposite direction. Make sure that you're keeping your shoulders stacking softly over your hips and give me beautiful length through the spine. Inhale to come back towards the center line. We're going to tuck into a pigeon line from here. Focus on the leg that's on top in your half lotus line. Uncouple the leg and place the foot on the floor. Trying to either keep your knee and your ankle in a straight line or tucking in closer towards the perineum. Roll forward onto your knees and then softly extend the left leg behind you. Readjust, wiggle around on the mat, and find the pigeon line that works for you. Try not to rest onto your right bum bone. So try to square up through your shoulders and your hips, and then gently walk your way down, maybe onto the forearms in a sphinx-like position. And if this feels good, come into full extension by creeping the hands out on the mat in front of you and trying to bring maybe your forehead to the mat as you just stay here for at least 15 gentle breaths. Focus on trying to keep your hips nice and even, almost as if you had a little strip of mercury floating between the two bum bones. So try to keep yourself as level as you can to the mat. And then maybe bringing the hands together in a prayer-like position with the fingertips nice and open, and bringing the prayer hands behind your head to tap your thumb to the base of your head, allowing the elbows to softly stay connected to the mat. Then release the forearms softly to the mat, coming back to your almost sphinx-like position on the mat. Rotate the left arm in so that the arm is parallel to the front of the mat. Take a big sweeping motion on the right to arc the right arm up to the ceiling or to tuck it behind your back, reaching with the middle index finger and thumb for the big toe of the lead leg and finding a soft bind. If the bind is not possible for you, either keeping the hand softly tucked behind your back or just keeping it in that soft T-like twist. Play, see what works for you. From here, we're going to bring it to a double pigeon seat on the mat. Peel back up along the center line, finding your way onto the forearms and then the palms. Focus on your front leg. You're going to lean all of the weight into your right bum cheek. So you're coming off the center line. You're going to try and square up the front foot with the knee and the ankle more or less in a straight line so that you're parallel to the front edge of your mat. You're going to reach for the back leg and you're going to try to overlay the left ankle atop the right knee and the left knee atop the right ankle. Gently lean forward. For most of us, this position is going to feel quite uncomfortable and it's going to feel as if that left knee wants to keep gravitating towards your ear. Just gently place the fingertips on the mat behind you and lean forward with all your body weight leaning forward to try and relax that left knee to the floor. If you want, you can gently, really gently and mindfully place your left palm on the inside of the knee and gently push the knee away, but don't force it. No snap, crackle, pop. Play mindfully. Then from here, we're going to bring it to a supine figure four. You're going to peel up along the center line, reach for your top leg, hug the heel in as close to your body line as you can, and extend the right leg in front. So you're coming into that high-seated figure four. You're going to gently round out through the spine, bend the lead leg, connect the sole of the foot to the mat. And then once you're lying down on the mat, see if you can extend your right leg. Hold on to the left foot with the right hand. Left hand is just soft and relaxed at your side, making that left knee as heavy as you can to the mat, and maybe keeping your left hand on the floor or pushing down gently on the hip bones if you prefer. You can either stay here working your extended figure four, or you can try to tuck into a full lotus line on the back. To find the full lotus line, bend your extended leg, connecting the sole of the foot to the floor. Focus on the left leg that's already tucked in and try to bring that heel in as close towards the inside of your right hip bone as you can. Then draw the right knee into table, reach for the foot, and try to overlay the right foot on top of the left, tucking into a full lotus line with both heels tucked to the inside of the opposite hip bone and resting comfortably on the top of your thighs. If pretzel is not your flavor today, just play where you're comfortable. Remember, there's no pressure to get into a position that you're not comfortable with. Play where you're comfortable. Gently chilling here for a few seconds. Trying to keep your spine nice and long. And then you're going to gently uncouple the legs. Draw your knees into a tabletop line and just release the ankle joints, especially if you were in the full lotus line, giving me a couple of rotations and releases into in both directions. From here, we're softly going to rock up, coming into a seated frame, bracing softly on the shins and lengthening through the spine. We're going to rinse and repeat that sequence. Tucking into the half lotus line, leading with the left leg on top this time. Just find a nice high seat. Tucking the left heel in as close to the inside of the right hip bone as you can. Take a big breath in, floating your hands overhead. Use your block if you need to find a gentle forward fold, connecting your fingertips, your palms, or your forearms to the mat as you gently fold forward, keeping the belly button firmly pulled into the center line as you fold forward. Then creep your hands slightly off center to one side, thinking of framing the knee on either side as you almost stretch on the diagonal, keeping the crown heavy, keeping your forearms heavy. Chill here for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready to take it to the other side, creep over and frame the opposite knee on either side with your arms. Keeping your belly button softly pulled into the center line the whole time that you're playing, and think of hinging forward from the hip joint. Find your way back to the center line, peel up, big breath in, and on an exhale, twist and rotate to one side. Opposite hand to knee, shoulders stacked over your hips, and a long line through the spine. Inhale, come back to the center, and exhale, take it gently to the other side. Inhale, come back to the center line and get ready for your pigeon. Focus on the top leg. Uncouple and place that top leg on the floor. Think of gently rocking the weight forward onto your knees and extending or creeping the right leg behind you. As you come into position, don't lean into your right bum bone. Try to square up through your shoulders and your hips, maybe finding a high fingertip position on the mat. And when you feel comfortable, make your way down onto the elbows in a sphinx-like position. If that feels good, come into full extension. As you come down to the mat, try to connect to your inner gyroscope and try to focus on what you're doing with your shoulder line and your hip line. Try to keep the two shoulders and the two hips parallel on both sides. So you've got a little strip of mercury floating between the shoulder blades and the hips, and you're trying to keep it even on both sides, so not dropping lower on the one side. If you're good here, make your elbows heavy to the floor. Bring your hands into a big open prayer-like position with lots of space between the fingers so they look like little sundials. And then try to reach behind your head to tap the tips of your thumbs to that little tension spot at the nape of your neck. Stay here for a few more breaths, and then we'll work a gentle twisting motion from here. Find your way back onto the forearms. Float the right arm in so that it's parallel to the front of the mat, and take a big sweeping arcing motion to the left, either staying here in a soft T or tucking the arm behind your back and reaching with the middle and index finger for the big toe of the lead leg and taking a soft bind in your pigeon. Parivrtta Ekapada Rayaka Potasana, twisted one-legged pigeon. Alrighty, we're coming into a double pigeon line from here, Agnisthambasana. You're going to reconnect to the forearms and then the palms. Sit down onto your bum cheek on the left and reposition the front foot so that your knee and your ankle is in a straight line. Swing the back leg over, trying to overlay ankle over knee, knee over ankle, and gently lean your body weight forward. If you like, you can take your right palm and place it gently on the inside of the right knee and push that knee away, trying to get the knee to relax to the bottom foot. Don't force it, just work really gently. If you're naturally blessed and the knees just fall open, kudos for you. Enjoy the stretch. The rest of us will work mindfully. All right. From here, you're going to come into that figure 4 position and find your way onto the back. Peel up softly along the center line and hug that right foot in, almost tucking it into a half lotus line, and extend the foot of the left leg out in front of you, giving me a nice long extended line on the mat, maybe gently pushing that right knee away and working a little bit deeper into the hips. When you're ready, you're going to softly bend your extended leg, rock onto the back, find your way comfortably onto the back, and when you're in position, extend the left leg again, holding opposite hand to foot and making that right knee as heavy to the floor as you can. Stay here, playing here, or try to tuck into the full lotus line. Bend your extended leg and think of tucking that right heel in as close to the left hip bone as you can, and then reaching mindfully for your left foot and trying to overlay your left foot on top of the right, tucking the left heel in as close to the inside of the right hip bone as you can, and coming into a full soft lotus bind with the hands soft and relaxed on the floor next to you. Stay here for a couple of beats. And then when you're ready to gently come out of it, unbind your feet. Make sure that if you were in the full lotus line, that you just give me a nice soft little release through the ankle joints, giving me a couple of rotations in one direction and then rinsing and repeating in the other. Rock up into a seated frame and change your orientation on the mat, extending the right leg and reaching for the front corner of your mat, bending the left leg and placing the sole of the foot on the inside of your knee. We're coming into a modification of Janusasana, head to knee. You're going to take a big breath in, floating your hands overhead, and on the exhale, you're going to fold forward to place your fingertips or your palms and your forearms, or maybe reaching for the foot and coming into a bind. You could also use a strap to gently bind around the foot, floating the elbows wide and playing where you're comfortable. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Try to lengthen through that right leg, and try not to allow the knee to gravitate up to the ceiling. Try to get that knee to relax down onto the mat. Peel softly up along the center line and change the bind of your legs if you can. Tucking in the opposite direction, and think of bringing that heel in as close to your bum line as you can. Opening up the legs nicely into a 90-degree if you can, or bringing the knee closer towards the other leg if you need to. Experiment and see what works for you. You're going to take a nice big breath in, and you're going to fold forward. It should actually feel more comfortable from this position. As you fold forward, you should be able to get the chest closer. If you need to, you could even take a block and place it on the inside of that leg, finding a gentle lean in position, or playing with your strap if you need to. Just experiment and see what works best for you. Then peel gently up along the center line and place the right elbow on the inside of the right knee. Relax the forearm to the mat, either keeping that arm long and lengthened or taking your middle index finger and thumb and giving me a big toe lock as you float the other arm up. If you can, reach all the way over and reach for the pinky toe. If you're struggling to make that connection, you can modify your movements, taking a block and placing it on the inside of your leg. Reposition the block and find a comfortable lean in position. And then if you can't reach for that foot, you could use your strap, maybe giving yourself a little bit of excess so that you can make the bind, one hand holding at the bottom just on top of your toe line and one arm overhead. Experiment, see what works for you. Then either stay here or change your bind by focusing on the bottom arm. Rotate the forearm in, lift your bum cheek off the mat, reach your hand under to grab hold of the ankle of the back leg, and then find that overhead stretch, reaching for the foot, maybe using your strap if you need to, and you could even use your block to maybe just place the hand on the top of your thigh if reaching underneath the groin is not happening for you today. Play where you're comfortable. Peel gently up along the center line. Keep your legs as they are. Take a big breath in, stacking your shoulders over your hips, and on an exhale, twist softly to the left. Cupping opposite hand to thigh and placing the left hand just gently on the fingertips behind you. Gently open up both legs. Bend the knees and think of coming into a butterfly line, but you're going to marry your butterfly line with a boat, almost as if you were coming into seal, yeah? You're going to tuck both hands underneath your ankles, and you're going to tip the weight back just off your tailbone, opening up the hands so that your hands almost resemble a little lotus bloom, and you're just going to hang here for a bit, keeping the weight just off your tailbone. Take 2 or 3 more breaths here. Then we're going to find that gate line, Paringasana, on the other side. You're going to extend the left leg, reaching for the corner of your mat. Take the right foot and tuck it to the inseam of the left leg. Sitting up nice and tall, you're going to gently fold forward, trying to bind to that foot, maybe reaching for your block and finding a lean in position here, or using your strap if you need to. Play with it. See what works for you. Then gently peel back up along the center line and change the bind of your legs. Tucking the heel in as close to your bum line as you can and opening up nice and wide. Big breath in. Hinge forward to try and wrap around the foot, thinking nose to knee. Using the block modification if you need to, maybe using the strap around your foot if you need to. Just play with it, see what works best for you. Try to relax through the lower back, don't tense up. Then gently peel up along the center line and tuck the elbow and the forearm to the floor, using your block underneath the arm if you need to. Take a big breath in, Float the right arm overhead, either stopping in T or coming all the way over, using your strap, your belt, or your loop if you need to as you come into position. Try to keep peeking underneath that top elbows if you were looking gently up towards the ceiling. Peel softly up along the center line and change the bottom arm. Rotate the forearm in. Lift your bum bones off the mat. Reach underneath the legs, reaching for the ankle of the bottom leg and rebind, taking that top arm over to reach for the outer quadrant of your foot, more or less where the pinky toe is. Using your strap if you need to, using your block if you need to. Then gently peeling up along the center line, take a big breath in and take a gentle rotation to the right. Opposite hand to thigh, right fingertips gently on the mat behind you as you take that twist. Then peel back towards the center line. Think of floating into a soft butterfly line. Reach both hands through to almost wrap, either just holding both calves and supporting the weight of your calf in your palm, or reaching through and trying to almost hold on to the feet and then rock your body weight back and open up the hands wide. Almost think lotus bloom. So with the feet, you could even open up your toes as well. Open up the feet, give me lots of space. So you're opening up those little tension spots behind, or rather in between the toes as you open up. Then from here, you're going to open up into a wide-legged seated straddle, Upavista Konasana, opening up your legs as wide as you're comfortable with. Take a big breath in to either just gently hinge forward, placing your hands on the floor, or maybe playing with that block and finding a lean-in position that works for you. Or you could change it up slightly and run the hands along the inseam of your leg. Maybe reaching around, wrapping for the feet from the outside or from the inside, almost mimicking that happy baby that we played with earlier on, and trying to drop your chest as low to the floor as you can. Maybe coming to rest on the side of one cheek if you're able to come quite low to the floor. Peel gently up along the center line and drop the right elbow and forearm to the inside of the leg, using your block if you need to. And replicate that stretch that we played with from the gate line, reaching opposite hand to foot and taking a nice little overhead stretch here. Then rotate slightly through the trunk and try to frame your foot on either side, crossing one hand over the other and reaching for the undercarriage of the foot, just as we did in Happy Baby right at the beginning of the class. And you're going to gently draw the elbows away from each other and sink nose to knee as you come into a soft off-center stretch. Inhale and peel gently up along the center line, stretch to the middle, either keeping fingertips on the mat, playing with your block, or think Happy Baby, reaching for the inside of the arch of your foot, dropping the chest down to the mat and maybe gently rotating your head in the opposite direction as you come as low to the mat as is comfortable for you. Then gently peeling up along the center line, dropping the left elbow and forearm to the mat, using the block if you need to, maybe giving me a big toe lock, and take a beautiful arcing overhead stretch, reaching for the outside of your pinky toe, rotate the top elbow away to gently peek up to the ceiling. Then reach with the left hand for the arch of your left foot, cross the right arm over the left, reaching for the undercarriage of your foot, and gently splay the elbows out to the side of the room as you fold forward, thinking nose to knee, keeping the belly button softly pulled in to the center line. Peel gently up along the center way. Find your way back into your lotus line, either keeping your current orientation or changing your orientation on the mat. Side view. You're going to bring the legs almost into a butterfly line on the mat. Think of feeding your hands through. Tip the weight just off your tailbone. Think of a Pilates V with your heels together, the toes nicely open, and splay the fingertips and the toes open, lengthening through the spine as you find an almost boat-like lotus modification. Pause here, looking for stillness, looking for quiet, keeping your belly button softly pulled in to the center line. And then gently close off your practice today by dropping the feet to the mat, almost coming into a soft butterfly line, floating your hands to a prayer-like position, but lots of space between the fingertips, and then ending off your practice by softly tapping your index fingers to the third eye as you end off with a gentle namaste. Namaste to you all. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Remember to shoot me your comments in the comments box below and to subscribe with your notification bell on. I shall see you all for Pilates conditioning on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.